Good afternoon, everyone. This is our second edition of Nitya Legal Monologue, where we'll be covering recent Madras High Court judgment in case of Sutherland. The issue relates to transition of credit of cesses, education cess, she cess, Krishi Kalyan cess, etc. So before we start our presentation, a very interesting trend emerging, especially from Madras High Court. In last 3 months, there have been 3 rulings which dealt with vested right. The latest is this Sutherland judgment relating to transition of credit of cesses. A few weeks back, we have TVL, Transternal-Stroy, Afcons JV judgment, again of Madras High Court, where they differed with Gujarat High Court ruling in case of VKC and held that refund of inverted tax refund will not be available for input services. A month back, we had PR Money judgment, which held that transition of pre-GST credits cannot be allowed. It differed with various other High Court rulings, Brand Equity, Delhi High Court, Adruff Technologies, Punjab and Haryana High Court, Siddharth Enterprises, Gujarat High Court, where all the High Courts unanimously allowed transitional credits. Why I'm spending time on this is that this is a new trend emerging on vested right theory, which the present issue also relates to, and which unfortunately has been negative by Madras High Court once again. Our Nitya Legal Monologue will be having a presentation of 10 to 15 minutes max. It's a capsule for you on this issue. We will cover legal background, the decision, an interesting aspect to know, are there any recovery provisions for transitional credits? And we'll close up with our take and way forward on the issue. We'll close, at the end, we'll have live question and answers if any of you have. So starting with the legal provisions, education cess was introduced in 2004, she cess in 2007. In 2015, both these cesses were abolished. Very important to note that the CENVAT Credit Rules 2004 allowed credit of these cesses, but in 2015, no provision was introduced for lapsing of these credits. So these credits continue to be validly available in books of the taxpayer. 2016, KKC was introduced. In July 2017, GST was introduced and KKC was abolished. Again, the whole issue relates to that Section 140 of CGST Act did not have any restriction on transition of cess credits. So resultantly, many taxpayers carry forward the credits of cesses. August 2018, the government introduced explanation 3 to Section 140, which is in consideration in the present case. This is how Section 140 of CGST looks like. Subsection 1 says a registered person is entitled to take CENVAT credit of eligible duties. You will see very different expressions have been used in various subsections of Section 140. Section 145 says a registered person is entitled to take credit of eligible duties and taxes. So here the expression has been widened to taxes as well. Section 148, which relates to a service provider having centralized registration, there he's allowed to take CENVAT credit carried forward in the return. So as far as subsection 1 is concerned, it is applicable to all the taxpayers who had closing balance of CENVAT credit, be it manufacturer, service provider. Section 145 dealt with input services received after GST on which old taxes were paid, and 148 dealt with centralized registration specifically. We had explanation 1 under Section 140, which dealt with eligible duties. Very important to note that this expression, eligible duties, this explanation is not applicable to subsection 1. Explanation 3, which defines eligible duties and taxes, it says it specifically excludes cess. So in the provision in front of you, it's abundantly clear that section 141 or section 148 does not get hit by explanation 3, which is the whole issue in the present case. We have Rule 3 of CENVAT Credit Rules 2004, which allowed CENVAT credit of various taxes. So amongst the list of taxes, education cess, she cess, be it excisable goods, services, as well as Krishi Kalyan cess on services was allowed as credit. So the court's ruling. So the single bench allowed transition of credit of cesses, whereas the division bench has overruled it. So this is what the division bench has held. Credit is in nature of concession and facility. It is not a vested right. The character of cess differs from duties and taxes. A court also pointed out the cross-utilization of credit of cesses was not permitted under earlier regime. So in earlier regime also, education cess credit could have been used for education cess only, not for excise duty and service tax. When the levy of cesses was discontinued in 2015, this holds true for education and she cess. It became a dead claim in 2015. The court also held that even if a taxpayer has made an accounting entry of credit of cesses post 2015, it does not lead to creation of any vested right to transition such credit. Court also held that transition of credit should be allowed only for legislations which were subsumed under GST. So the court said that these cesses were not specifically subsumed under GST. And lastly, the court held that explanation 3 to section 140, it excludes credit of cesses. The court held that this provision needs to be read harmoniously with section 141 and section 148. And basis this, the court disallowed the transition. Before we come to our take, one important thing we want to highlight is there any recovery provision? Suppose I as a taxpayer have carry forward the credit of cesses. Is there any recovery provision to recover these amounts from me? So under GST, recovery is generally made under section 73 and 74. As per these provisions, notice can be issued for ITC wrongly availed or utilized. GST law defines ITC as credit of CGST, SGST, etc. It does not cover transitional credits. CGST Act does not empower rules to make recovery of transitional credits. So even though we have rule 121 of CGST rules, which says that proceedings can be initiated, but there is no substantive provision for recovery of transitional credits. So the point we want to emphasize here is that under GST law, even if you have taken credit of cesses, even if legally it was not admissible, still there is no provision for recovery of such credits. Another important aspect is that if I have carried forward the credit of cesses and I have utilized also, can interest be recovered from me? Section 50 subsection 3 deals with recovery of interest on input tax credit. Again, the transitional credits are not input tax credit, so even interest cannot be levied. So the last part of our presentation is our take and way forward. So this is what is our take. In our view, this ruling is absolutely incorrect for multiple reasons. In our view, it's very well settled position that credit is a vested right. It's not a concession granted by the government. Importantly, availment and utilization are different concepts. So if I'm entitled to avail the credit, whether I'm having a utilization avenue or not, it will not impact my availability of credit. So in other words, even if I'm unable to utilize a credit, even then the availability of credit would be treated as valid only. The most important aspect is that pre-GST, the central government was empowered to make rules for lapsing of credit. Had their intent been to lapse the credits of education cess, she says, KKC, etc., they would have framed a specific rule for that purpose, but they have not made. So in our view, there needs to be explicit provision for lapsing of credits, not in an implied manner. In our view, transition of credit has to be seen as per the legal provisions only, be it the CENVAT Credit Rules 2004 or CGST Act. It has no connection with legislations getting subsumed under GST or not. Very important aspect is that both explanation 1 and 2 to CGST Act, which are under consideration, they are not applicable to section 141 and section 148. In fact, the government wanted to make a retrospective amendment. They made the amendment also, but have not notified it. So this whole explanations 1, 2, and 3 have no relevance to the dispute under consideration. Another legal reasoning why it does not apply is that explanation 3 uses the expression eligible duties and taxes, whereas section 141 uses the expression eligible duties only. For that reason also it will not apply. As far as section 148 is concerned, it neither uses eligible duties and taxes or eligible duties. It talks about CENVAT credit only. And there is no provision for recovery of transitional credits, nor any provision for levy of interest. So way forward, if you have transitioned the credit, we still recommend you to litigate the matter despite this Madras High Court judgment. If you have reversed the credit under protest, even then you can litigate, you can file the refund claims, etc., to get the money back. But yes, the final verdict will be given now by Supreme Court only. With this, we come to end of today's Nitya legal monologue.